For this episode of Voices of Hyperspace, guess who we got back in town?
Hey y'all, it's Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday has returned from her away mission and she's off a holiday. And you want to tell folks a little bit of your
Adventure?
Yeah, your adventure.
Yeah, it was amazing. You can definitely find me on a poker table every day, all day, just living my dreams. Vegas treated me very nice. It was very much like when you bake a cake and then you open the oven and the way the air hits you in the face. That's what it was like stepping outside most of the time. Yeah, didn't get much better. Coming home is like trying to breathe through a straw. So it's just as hot, but it's moist. So it makes it hard to breathe here in Missouri. Yeah, but I just loved it. The environment just being so saturated in something that you love to do, and it's not strange or odd or anything. Just like, what are you doing today, Sunday? Playing poker? Well, of course you are. You're in Vegas for 8. It was a whole dream that I'm so thankful I had the opportunity to do.
Awesome. I don't know, Mel, what do you think? We handled the helm here for almost 2 months. Pretty okay.
Yeah. We did good. Yeah. But we're glad Sunday's back.
Yes.
It just adds to everything.
Oh, yeah. For Sunday, she is new to Babylon 5, and I absolutely love having her perspective because, I just enjoy watching people watch it for the first time. The show is old. Certain parts don't age well, but it's so good. You know, it's just, I like watching people discover it. And so thank you so very much for sticking with us. Yeah, we got into some like history and a little bit of psychology, mental health, politics, all of that stuff. I mean, we've been doing it all series, but it got pretty deep the first 6 episodes of this show, of this season.
Especially since the season has dragged a little bit.
Yeah.
The actual storyline is dragged, so we've been talking about things related to the storyline.
Yeah. And speaking about dragging, this episode, we're looking at episode 12, Conflict of Interest. I found it a little interesting because we have some components that have been there. They spent the last couple of episodes kind of putting it in context because it's not like a galaxy-wide epic space battle anymore. This is back to the more... It's hard to say street level, but it is kind of street level, noir and espionage type of story. Especially with Garibaldi being at the center of it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Garibaldi, I wrote a fun little intro to the show. So I'll recite that and y'all tell me what y'all think. So, what do you do after you have alienated everyone you called a friend to the point that all of your security clearances are canceled mid-pursuit, only to discover that a multi-billionaire may have discovered kryptonite for telepaths? Not only that, one of your main contacts is the wife of the said billionaire who happens to be your ex-girlfriend that you abandoned without a word.
Yeah. I understand why he's crashing out, but at the same time, it's really ironic that he's calling Sheridan someone who has a savior complex, but he thinks everyone's supposed to just do what he wants despite how wrong he is. Like, he's mad at the ex for not waiting for him when he's the one that abandoned her. He's mad at Babylon 5 for not keeping his security clearance and badge and stuff after he decided to quit. Like, you were supposed to turn that stuff in when you quit. And now you mad at people and want to get revenge on people because they're not going to let you still do the stuff that you quit doing. Right.
It's specifically people like Garibaldi. And I've been trying to pinpoint like exactly what this character is. He's a blue collar guy. He is kind of a cop, or he's very nosy. As Mel pointed out while we were off the air, he's like a private investigator. He hates the fact that he is being kept in check, even though it was his job to keep people like him in check. Like, make that make sense.
But police officers don't wear their seatbelts. They speed. They don't observe traffic laws. They be running red lights. Yeah, that's why they become police officers so that they don't have to follow the rules.
Exactly. And that's what is kind of bothering me about Garibaldi. He is mad that the rules are applying to him. And instead of him being like, hey, you know what? That's the job. He's over there trying to shame people who were his friends and now are in the position to do his job. And so he's trying to like appeal to their emotions, I guess. Yeah. When we get there, we'll talk about it. I complained last episode that it didn't have Garibaldi in it at all. That last episode. And now we got Garibaldi. Like, we got all the characters we didn't see any of last episode. We got Garibaldi, we got G'Kar, we got Londo. We see real quick, Garibaldi is handling, he's wrapping up some business as an independent contractor. And basically, this character's name is hilarious. His name is Jupiter Bistro. The black guy who's breaking down in front of him. Well, Garibaldi helped find his daughter. His daughter, her vocal cords are messed up, so she's not talking, which I was like, okay, that's cool. The show knows to save money, so they didn't let her talk at all.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it happens, especially in sci-fi shows, because it's like every time a character, if you have 2 lines, you get paid. So they're like, we're gonna show her face, but we're not gonna pay her. So
the father's acting was over the top.
Yeah, he's supposed to be breaking down emotionally, but then Garibaldi flips it on him. He's like not charging him for his service. Well, he's not charging him his full fee. He cuts him a discount, and it's like, oh, we're supposed to think Garibaldi's a good guy because he's cutting this guy a break.
Yeah, I thought he was doing a good job of the y'all ain't shit, and the only reason that I'm alive is, for her, and if she's not, I'm about to jump off a bridge, is where it felt like that conversation was going.
Yeah.
Yep, it was giving. And once she was there, it went weird with, I was like, is this, his wife or his daughter? Like, who is it that he can't live without? And then I'm assuming it was definitely a daughter. She looked kind of young, but the way she was just clenching on like she was a toddler that's holding on to their parent around strangers instead of, embracing with a decent hug and then standing by yourself.
Oh, well, I think because they probably each thought that one of them probably died. And it's been months since they've had to live for months not knowing if this person had died, and them being the only person that they've had, and then her having the damage to her lungs is probably pretty traumatizing, and then being reunited with the one person that you still have left in the world that you can feel comfortable and safe with after being attacked the way they were. Because this was a part of that whole fighting thing where the different places were attacking each other.
Yeah, the different little worlds are attacking each other, or it's unstable in the galaxy right now. So we see at the end of that little scene, Wade, he's the guy that showed up in the last episode, and he's eyeing Garibaldi, and they have a plan. What they're going to do is they're going to test Garibaldi. They're like, we're going to give him his first mission, and if he's good, he'll live through it, and if he doesn't, then oh well, he's expendable. It's kind of weird, but I have a suspicion about these characters. I'll get to that in a minute. We come back, we see that Zach enters Sheridan's office. Sheridan is pissed off because he's like, okay, look, Garibaldi quit weeks ago, right? Where's his identity card? Where's his gun? Where's his security clearance? He's like, I need all that shit back because he's been hanging around some people I don't like. And Zach is like, I mean, he might come back. And Sheridan is like, he might and he might not. But whatever the case is, I need my shit back now.
I was like, if you quit and come back, can't they just give you back your stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it should it's not a problem. You get recommissioned. You get all your gear back. It's just a weird hill for Garibaldi to die on for some reason. So real quick, we kind of get an introduction to all these storylines. We got Franklin going into the war room, talking with Ivanova, and they're talking about how okay, we got this whole Voice of the Resistance thing set up, But as much as it would be cool to broadcast this, we don't have enough power and we just don't know what to do. And Franklin, being the best human being in the whole galaxy, is like, why don't we use Epsilon 3? They got tons of power down there. Why didn't we even ask him in the first place? Ivanova's like, you know what? We should use Epsilon 3. I don't know why nobody thought of that before. I don't know why I didn't think about it. You have to be absolute genius to come up with that, because an idiot would think of that first. And then she's like, I gotta go down to Epsilon 3. And Franklin is dumbfounded, and he's like, oh, shoot. They do have like a little banter back and forth, because all of the hard thinking was done by Franklin in 2 minutes, and Ivanova, for some reason, didn't come up with it, and she's in charge. So what this does, this sets up a little adventure into a planet with Ivanova again. She gets to have an adventure, y'all. Finally. We get the confrontation between Garibaldi and Zach, where Zach is like, okay, give me all your shit. Sheridan said he wants it. This is the thing that really bothered me about this, though. Like, I know that Zach is reluctant, because in the acting, he's like not looking at Garibaldi when he's asking for the stuff. And Garibaldi is mad because at first he's like, oh, you need all that stuff? No big deal. Like, yeah, here's my identity card and here's my link. No big deal. But the gun, I'm going to keep that. And Zach is like, come on, man. The captain said he wanted that too. And Garibaldi's pissed. But here's the thing that bothered me. Zach, as the head of security, he keeps saying the captain wants it. The captain wants it. Bro, it's your job to keep a lockdown on that stuff. You want that. But he won't do it. He keeps putting it off on Sheridan.
He's still deferring to him as like he's under the command of. I think he's still loyal to him.
Yeah, he is. So Garibaldi is all upset. And then Zach is like, give me your backup too. Because Garibaldi has 2 guns. And he pulls out his backup and gives it to him. And he's like, look, I'm sorry. He had to send me. What was I supposed to do? Garibaldi's like, you could have said no. And he's like, yeah, but he would have sent somebody else. And then here's Garibaldi being the toxic guilt tripper. He goes, yeah, but it wouldn't have been you. My question is, like, okay, I understand that they got this friendship going on, but does Garibaldi actually, he always seems to be like lobbing like shots at him even when he's not brainwashed. It's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it's like he's using him. He's like a flying monkey to him, or a narcissistic supply. He's more of a narcissistic supply because he doesn't send him off to other people other than the fact that he's like also security. But outside of his job, inside his job, he's probably is a flying monkey. But outside of his job, that bond that he has with him is a narcissistic supply. Because he's the only one bowing down to what he wants, despite the fact that he has no right to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
It's like, it's your job now, and you're bowing down to him. And not that I appreciate that he's not like power hungry, but at the same time, you're not having any confidence in what you can do because you're still bowing down to this dumbass.
True. Yeah. We see Ivanova take off in her shuttle. That was a sequence that took some time on the show because she didn't talk. She just was in the shuttle and it was going off. But we get to see Garibaldi in his office, and he's like watching Looney Tunes, because we have to remember this is his personality, right? And us being an audience that knows that he's being manipulated by telepaths, there is Garibaldi in there. And my suspicion is like Garibaldi was never a good guy, and they're manipulating his distrust of people and like his baser instincts, and it's allowing them to manipulate him to do the things that they want him to do. And that's where I think that this Wade guy is coming from. He's some sort of like black ops or special ops person that's part of manipulating Garibaldi.
Yeah. I like how the Looney Tunes perfectly mirrored what was going on with Garibaldi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a nice little way for them to use that, though. It didn't feel out of place. You would kind of expect, especially for someone who acts like him. He's kind of, his personality is very obsessed with late 20th century. So the Looney Tunes kind of fits that.
I sometimes am just like a little off on the content that they choose to use in future. And lots of shows, like they used Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 in the Orville. And it was so, I don't know, it was just kind of weird the way they did it. But I think it made sense, being like a feminist movement that the Mocklin were trying to pull together. Like last night I was watching, I think, Strange New Worlds, and they had some weird episode where they ended up like singing. It was like a musical episode, but they had chosen a song to try to like transmit across the galaxy, and then it caused some kind of rift that messed things up. But the song that they used, I didn't even know it. And I'm just like, maybe it's me that is not a part of the culture to be able to connect to that. But it is usually pretty strange, like the fringe content that they select. And they're like, just even having the different kind of antique stuff in people's offices
Yeah.
that are bringing them back to this day and time. It's kind of like, it makes it feel a little weird, like the Make America Great kind of thing. Like, but stuff is not so great. Why are they holding on to this old, not good stuff?
Well, it's because
like,
people idealize the past, you know.
Yeah. And I think the piece from A Strange New World was written for that. Also, in the remake of Star Trek, the original series, where they interfered with the signal by playing Beastie Boys, which is so awesome.
Yeah, it was in the remake. Yeah,
they played Sabotage to sabotage the signal, and
yeah. I
love Beastie Boys. So I'm very interested in the music that they use, but also it's normal for like especially naval and military people to have like trinkets and memorabilia of like the past of their branch or whatever. Especially like when you consider the history of where we got to that. You could see, who was it? I think there was one, I don't remember which Star Trek it was, but they had Archer's Enterprise. Like a little statue of Archer's Enterprise.
That was on Picard, and I think they had like the Enterprises from the ship museum or something like that.
Yeah.
I think
and then
you're talking about.
Yeah, and especially in Picard, where they were having Founders Day, or I think it was Founders Day, and they were like selling all the little ships and stuff. It's a big thing for military people in general.
We will have to do that during side mission, because we should talk about this.
Oh yeah. I'm just going to say I think it's military history, because like we do the same thing with music. Like I have vinyl records for no reason.
Oh yeah.
I have like I used to have a collection of like really remakes of old instruments. I don't think it's just military people. It looks like kind of morbid when you have military, because they are killing machines or machines that use to go out to kill other people. But like when you put in the same perspective of like ethnomusicology, or like people who do the same thing as ethnomusicology for food, and they have like old type of stuff that people used to cook with, it doesn't look as weird. It's interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into this. It actually is not a ton, but I'm gonna try to go through it pretty quickly so we can get to like the meat of the episode, because the stuff going on with Garibaldi is awesome. So Wade visits Garibaldi and gives him a secret mission, and he explains, you're getting this contract and it needs to be traceless. You're going to end up going against your own security team. And Garibaldi is all enthusiastic, which this makes me think of Garibaldi not that great of a guy, because he goes, if you told me yesterday you wanted this, I would have been like, no. But since the day I've been having, hell yeah, I wouldn't mind going up against my own security team. He's vindictive. That's in him. That's not just something programmed in him.
The day they took away his clearance after he was supposed to not have this clearance, and he's like, I don't like you because you won't have my way.
Yes. We switch away from that, and Ivanova is down on Epsilon 3, and she encounters Zathras, and she's like, "Oh my God, Zathras!" And he's like, "What?" And she goes, "I thought we left you, 400 years in the past." He goes, "Oh, no, 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 no. That wasn't me. That was Zathras." And she is thoroughly confused. And after this nice little fun bantering back and forth about the pronunciations of the different Zathrases, there happens to be 10 Zathrases, but 9 now. And they are identical. They all speak the same. And they help draw with the machine.
No, so
he mentioned talking about the other Zathrases. Like he mentioned there's others that I talked to, but they're like,
Yeah. And it was so funny because like Zathras is a genius, apparently. He's a genius engineer, but he's long suffering. And that's when he was just like, look, I don't spend a lot of time with people. And so when I want to talk, I talk to dirt. Like, what? He's like, and sometimes the dirt has worms. They're not so great with conversation, but they're delicious and they have lots of protein. So Zathras is a little bit of a weird guy. He always been, but this makes him even more weird. But basically, Zathras is helping Ivanova set up the power for the broadcast. So that's what this whole bantering section is for. On the other side, Garibaldi, he's in the shuttle bay. Him and Wade, they are waiting in a corridor for somebody to show up. And basically, Garibaldi is using his backup security clearances and backup identicards to get through stuff in the station. So, like, with all of that going on, with all this stuff taken away, he still is breaking the rules. Bro is still breaking the law. He thinks he's a cop. And Wade reveals, like, okay, so the person that we're picking up will not be the person that we said. It's going to be this person's wife. And when we see who this wife is, it is it is Lise. Remember the ex-girlfriend Garibaldi had I believe in season 1? That's her. That's the woman that Garibaldi abandoned. And and there she is. Her name now is Lise Hampton Edgars, which means she has been remarried. Garibaldi's talking about he was planning to get married to her, and she's been, some things have happened. She's been remarried. He confronts her about all of that stuff, and it's very confusing. It's a weird, dramatic thing because when he last talked to her, she was with a different rich person. That person apparently left her because she was getting a divorce and she was having a baby at the time. But it seems like he took the baby from her and left her on Mars penniless. And so she met this other guy, Bill Edgars, who happens to be the billionaire, William Edgars. And they got married like within 6 months. So she was able to wrap that up real quick. And Garibaldi
that's suspicious.
It's giving hope. It's okay though. No.
Yeah, it's suspicious. How do you marry someone? One, you marry someone in 6 months. A second, you bagged a billionaire. So in that much time, I don't know.
Like, where's Riley and his Hodar? Like, hello?
Hodar. She kind of explains some things. She keeps trying to say that it's not about money, but come on now. Bro's a billionaire. It's either this, be with a billionaire or be dead ass broke on Mars, where they don't want you there in the first place. The other thing is we still get a little bit of storyline of the Earth versus Mars conflict because there's a lot of animosity there. She talked about like Earth appointed judge that was very pro Earth and anti Mars. And so she's just like, okay, well, on to the next one, which I got nothing bad to say about it other than her husband is an asshole, but y'all figure this out later. Several episodes later.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Michael's an asshole, so maybe she's just hooking up with
assholes, apparently.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Maybe she's into relationships because Garibaldi was kind of broke. He's a grunt, right? He was in the military, but he didn't like make money. And she was with him until he left. And then she was just like, well, he's gone. I need somebody else. So
Yeah.
maybe she feels like she needs to be with somebody.
She's also needing to be with people in power. Because Garibaldi was a cop. He has authority. The other guy, people in authority typically okay, no, say that. But it's very stereotypical for people in authority to cheat and not care, and then have all of the no empathy for the person that they cheated with. So taking the baby kind of fits into that whole thing. And now she's with a billionaire. We don't know what's up with that, but there's bad stereotypes with that too. Even though he is with the resistance, apparently, but then also they're anti-alien, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It kind of depends.
Yeah,
like maybe he's anti-Earth, but still also anti-alien. He's kind of he kind of reminds me of like the tech billionaire type. He's like, leave me alone and let me do my thing, but also we don't like immigrants either. So. Yeah. We quickly switch to see Sheridan is having a conversation with Londo Mollari and G'Kar. And this is where we're kind of getting a little bit of a review of the last couple of episodes where they are talking about how the smaller worlds that didn't get involved with the war are taking the opportunity now because the big powers are weakened and trying to recoup themselves. The smaller worlds who didn't get involved, they got all their ships and all their power, and they're like trying to expand their empires. And Sheridan is like, we need to join together to like keep the galaxy stable. And what their plan is to do is put Ranger patrols on the borders to help keep the peace. Londo's like, we don't need anybody. Sheridan is like, look, we need to come together and not be isolated. Because remember, when we're separate, we're weak. And we need your support to do it. Because we don't want to look suspicious like we're trying to take over things. They had a conversation about the Drakh, which is the weird-ass species that was confronting the Minbari last episode. And Londo's like, oh, yeah, they're terrible. They're smart and they're cunning. But, yeah, they're the worst people in the galaxy. Yeah, it's a good thing we didn't have to deal with them. They're like, okay, I'll agree. Yeah, you can put your ships up on our borders. That'll be great. So it's Sheridan, once again, doing diplomacy to try to get support so they can garner peace in the galaxy. Again, it's all about setting aside differences. While that's going on, Zach is in his security office. He finds out that there's been a security breach. And he's like, okay, well, what the hell is going on? And come to find out, it was Garibaldi who was using his unauthorized copy of his identicard to get in and out of the docking station. And Zach is like, oh, geez, Chief, why you got to make me do this to you? And so he cancels all of Garibaldi's authorization. So, yeah, that's great, because what happens immediately after is a nice sequence where Garibaldi would have done a great job had he had the clearance. But I have some suspicions about all of that anyway, because him, Lise, and Wade, they're down below. They're supposed to meet with somebody to get an item. The contact meets them. They're like in a seedy bar in down below, because that's all they got apparently. And the object is a molecular isoblock containing genetic information that may be a weakness or show a weakness for telepaths. I want y'all to remember this because A, Garibaldi is being manipulated by telepaths, but B, Earth has a thing against telepaths in general. So this is something we want to kind of like keep in our back pocket. So Garibaldi is explaining like, hey, this is kind of a dangerous piece of equipment here. How do we know that this won't fall in the wrong hands? And the guy was like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, nobody's going to open the isoblock unless they have like the molecular key, which nice. Okay. That's kind of a cool idea. It's like a lockbox, right? And while they're explaining all of this is supposed to go to Edgar's Industry. They're the ones researching the genetic flaw in telepaths, and they are trying to develop a counter agent, which, okay. This once again sounds like some eugenics, because they were talking about how like this genetic flaw can be used and turned into a virus. Put it in our back pocket. Might come in handy later. And while they're having this conversation, Garibaldi notices like, okay, some people coming into this club, but I don't like it. He's like, hey, maybe we should get out of here. So they stand up to get out, and then somebody immediately comes up to Wade and is like, hey, don't I know you? And Wade is like, no, you don't know me. He's like, no, I know you. And then out comes guns, and the fight breaks out. They're all dodging gunfire and punching and stuff. Garibaldi downs one person and takes his gun, so he's armed again. The contact, though, as they're running in the hallway, the contact gets shot straight in his chest, so bro is dead. They're doing fire back and forth, and Garibaldi, Lise, and Wade, they all run into like a wall, but Garibaldi is like, okay, I think I know a way to get out of here. He tries to use his clearance, and lo and behold, his clearance doesn't work. And so they're kind of stuck, and they're just trying to figure out, like, okay, what do we do next? Garibaldi, thinking quickly on his feet, he helps Wade and Lise escape through the ceiling grate to a ventilation system, which, how convenient, but that's kind of, that's cool, I guess. I don't really know if a ventilation system that spacious is necessary on the space station, but we'll just go with it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like in regular real ones on Earth, they're not that big.
No,
it's very much a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, it makes me remember. I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was in LA or something. It was like this famous club. I think I saw this on that TV show, 1,000 Ways to Die. Where these people were trying to get into this famous club, and this guy figured, like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna climb through the vents, and he got stuck and died in there. Was in there for like a while because it was too small. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're climbing through, but they're getting shot at because Garibaldi figures, oh, we're being pursued by telepaths. Which, good thinking, Garibaldi. And also, he didn't get shot in the back this time. And so, since he realizes they're being pursued by telepaths, he's like, okay, I need y'all to go to Docking Bay 3. If we get separated, go to Docking Bay 3. I need you to repeat this 1,000 times, Docking Bay 3. And then she's like, okay, fine, whatever. They go, and then they end up getting out of the vents on Brown 14, and they're like, why, this isn't Docking Bay 3. Like, why you keep saying that? And he's like, and Garibaldi says, oh, it's because I figure if you thought that you would be broadcasting that it's really loud, so if telepaths are following us, that's where they would go. And so they're not being pursued anymore, but now Garibaldi set a trap for the telepaths.
Brown 14 is not that place where he that accidental place.
No, that was like Gray 17.
Oh, okay. That would have been a better place to go. At least if you went there. Well, it's probably farther away because it's
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like maybe that was distance away.
But
I don't. It's funny because I can't really think of the setup of the ship of the station.
Right. I don't think they know. But like, especially since, well, I mean, like the writers, like especially since it really feels like these writers are almost completely different writers. So like, we don't know where the little hangout was. It could have been near there. Like, that would have been a nice little thing to add in there if they had Get Out there, since he knows where it is. Especially since y'all going through the air shaft to get there.
Right. So when they come out, Garibaldi explains all of that, and he goes, okay, now I'm going to go down to Docking Bay 3 to figure out what's going on. Back on Docking Bay 3, the gunmen come out, and they are confronted by Zach and the security team. And Zach is like, what are you guys doing here? And those guys, they're like, oh, shoot, we're stuck. So one of them yells out, to the future, and you hear them bite down on cyanide capsules, and they all just commit suicide and die. Boom, 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 boom. Garibaldi pops out, has a gun. The whole security team points their guns at Garibaldi, and Garibaldi's like, oh, no. And then he puts his hands up and he puts the gun down. And so we have like a little bit of a face off for a split second and a bunch of dead bodies. We get a brief little shot of Ivanova reporting that the power transfer for the station is ready planetside. While that's going on, we do get like this useless scene of them like powering the stuff up. it's kind of weird because we just see like, I don't know what it is, a satellite or something floating out in space. I don't know. But yeah, we switch to a scene of Sheridan confronting Garibaldi about the 3 dead bodies, and he's accusing him of drawing violence to the station. And he's like, look, I can't have this going on all the time. If you don't stop it, I'll just have to revoke your business license and make this a rough situation for you. And Garibaldi is pissed off at him. He's like, I'm just doing my job. If I had my clearances, there wouldn't be any dead bodies. Oh my God.
If you had your clearances, you would be chief of security.
Right. Exactly. Basically, Garibaldi is like, I didn't break any laws. And then Sheridan is like, okay, breach of security, illegal use of clearances, illegal fire. Do I need to go on? You did some bullshit in here, Mr. Garibaldi.
It was such a trip. He's like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, you did. And then he just rattles off all the shit that
all the things he did wrong.
And I'm like, yeah, you did do something wrong.
Yeah. And so we see Garibaldi back in his quarters, and he's kind of, coming down for the day, and he hears from the computer that he's got a message from Lise Hampton. He's like, Lise Hampton, not Lise Hampton Edgars. And the machine is like, nope, just Lise Hampton. And he's like, delete it. He doesn't care at all.
Mm-hmm. She didn't wait for me after I abandoned her, so I can't listen to her messages after I just saved her life.
Right. Later, William Edgars, Lisa's husband, contacts Garibaldi. And he talks to him, and he's like, my wife arrived back home safely, and you did a great job. I want to keep working with you. A lot of things going on, and I need a guy like you, Garibaldi. And what he says was like, since you're no longer head of security, people aren't going to be looking at you. So it's kind of like somebody with Garibaldi's skills are important, but if he stayed chief of security, he would be on everybody's radar. But since he's not chief of security, he's kind of like an undercover agent now. And he's getting, the rabbit hole is getting deeper. We switched over to Ivanova, and she broadcasts the first transmission of Voice of the Resistance. And she is declaring that their mission is to tell the truth to all of the galaxy, and the truth is back in business. And we end the show. So, as you can see, there was not a ton going on there, but there was a lot of focus on Garibaldi. And I wanted to hear, what do y'all think was going on in this episode? Because there was something really major happening, and I want to know if y'all caught on to it.
That Garibaldi is now working with the people against the psychics, and he's being controlled by the psychics, which means now the psychics know what is being plotted against them.
Mm-hmm.
And Garibaldi's a narcissistic asshole.
Oh, yeah. What do you think, Sunday?
Yeah, he is pretty much involved and wrapped up in himself. And even though he was advocating for his friend or his co-workers, his subordinates, to trust him and come to him and, do the job the right way, now that he's not a part of the team, they're doing what he taught them to do, and now you mad about it. Very much like a narcissist. Yeah. I agree with Mel.
Yeah, he's being manipulated, but they gave us some clues, and just kind of like piecing together what's happened in the past episodes and this one. So Garibaldi is being controlled by Psychor telepaths, and he was given this mission by other Psychor telepaths. He's set up to meet with a guy who just so happens to have a potential weapon against telepaths. That whole situation gets fouled up because they were being pursued by telepaths. But then Garibaldi, under control of telepaths, is working directly with the person trying to figure out the weapon against telepaths. And that is some diabolical shit. Whoever is working this whole situation is super smart, and Garibaldi doesn't have a clue what's happening.
Yeah, because like the what we've learned before with the personality switch or control thing is that they program you to act a certain way. And so far we've seen him be programmed to go against Sheridan.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheridan's whole mission is to bring everybody together. So anyone who's against them would see him as an ally, which, like I said last episode, it sounded like if we didn't know that Garibaldi and Sheridan were against each other, it would have looked like a sting, like a undercover sting for Garibaldi to like get with the people who are trying to go against what they're doing. But
Yeah.
it is that, but not from that perspective. It's from
Right.
the Psychor's perspective.
And I think maybe it's the telepaths don't want to alert Sheridan because Sheridan can rally up some troops to go against them. So they're like, no, we want to figure this out ourselves and quietly. Garibaldi has the skills, but also he's in a position to go either way. He can go against Sheridan. He can go against this billionaire. So I'm throwing that out there.
Because he's also
But this
kind
is all
of
the
a rogue.
information that they've already told us anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah. So they're okay. So now it's starting to come together. I was hoping eventually it would come together. They are good at bringing things together, but at first it was kind of like, why are they going over here? No, it was the Minbari where it was like, why are they doing that just to say that? I mean, they might bring it back, but at the same time, you kind of didn't necessarily need that. It was kind of just, it was exposition, but not exposition. They told the story and then it just sit there and explain everything, but it did take you away from the main story a little bit to make you wonder, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we're all supposed to look at Garibaldi as like, oh no, you're an asshole, you're being manipulated. But yeah, there's a deeper conspiracy going on here. And while originally I was thinking like, this is kind of another slow episode, it's actually a genius episode.
Mm-hmm. Garibaldi was kind of a rogue anyway. Like when he was with them, but not necessarily always doing things the way he should. He was being an asshole about it. So when he did go cross that thin line between being bad for them to being bad against them, it doesn't to everybody else seem too far off. They're kind of like, well, if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. Because that's how he is. He's like, he sticks to his guns. If he feels a certain way, he does it and he knows why he's doing it. And he does what he feels. And he's at least honest about being an asshole. So when he starts to be an asshole against you, you know that he's truly being an asshole against you.
Yeah.
And that's why, I guess, why Sheridan can just put that line in the sand so easily.
So without any more spoilers, because I don't think what I shared was a spoiler. This is just, if we pay attention to the breadcrumbs they dropped, that's exactly what's happening. They threw in Lise to fuck with Garibaldi too. So like, he doesn't even know what he's doing. So with all of that, I guess we should wait a couple of episodes to get Sunday's predictions because a lot has happened. And I guess to kind of catch her up, there is conflict between the cast members in the Minbari. We had an episode where someone was trying to look for outside help and almost caused like a genocide. So there's that. We don't know what's going on with the Narn so much right now, other than they tried to make G'Kar a leader, and he's like, no, don't make me a dictator, and let's not try to get revenge against the Centauri because we need a better way. The Centauri are facing kind of uncertainty. They don't have an emperor, but they have a regent, and the current regent is under control of a watcher. So they're dealing with another alien invasion. And the humans are about to be in this 3-way civil war. We got Earth, Mars, and Babylon 5. And there's a lot going on with all of that. So we have our universe set up. We have our conflicts. It's not galaxy wide as far as like good versus evil, but it's set up to where where like, okay, we settled the good versus evil conflict. You know, we're no longer in the polarized moral stances. We are dealing with fascism, straight up space fascism. And we got the space Nazis, Earth Nazis, and Babylon 5 that we're trying to figure out who's going to come out on top and how. So yeah, there we are.
So like the Psi Corps are the undercover Nazis that are manipulating things. The Earth Corps are the obvious front for the fascism. And Babylon 5 is the obvious opposing. But then like Mars seems to be like the civilians that are just being affected by things and don't want to deal with being manipulated.
And it took us a couple of episodes to get here, but I think we're kind of finally moving. The episodes are moving a little slower, and I think that's okay. The one thing that I don't like is I don't like the space battles because they don't really mean anything anymore. But I do like the shootouts. I like the shootouts in the station.
They did have a lot of foundation to lay down.
Yeah.
And suddenly having to lay that foundation down, because these breadcrumbs could have been laid out kind of easily in the other seasons if they knew that they were going to have this season. So knowing that they had to suddenly, and there were like they used what they already had to take those as the breadcrumbs and build on it. So like now it's starting to look like they're not throwing it together as much. It doesn't look thrown together like compared to what they have done before. It kind of feels thrown together. It's still good. It's still well done. It's just very different.
Yeah. And I guess a way we can look at it, if we wanted to understand the whole theme of it, humanity and the younger species have won the big battle of good versus evil. But for the next step in the younger species evolution, they have to go through this conflict because telepaths are apparently the next step of evolution. Humans, a lot of species do have telepaths, but maybe not that many, or they're under control. Similar, kind of like the case of the Centauri. And the Earth telepaths are like, nope, we are nobody's slaves. In fact, we're better than you, and we're gonna rule you. So it's like we got to figure that conflict out.
And it almost, when you say it that way, it almost mirrors the Shadows and the Vorlons, because the Shadows wanted. They're fighting over power on how to do things, how to control the universe, or how to control their universe, particularly because it's Earth that they're fighting over. So they're looking very small, but there's a smaller version of that whole power struggle of who's going to control those that we believe are beneath us that need our control because we think we know better.
Yeah. So now it seems like we got us a nice season ready to start rolling. I know, right? We're at the halfway point, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, now I'm back. We can get back to the action.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm just so happy to be back. Thank you guys so much for holding it together while I was gone. Love y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it was a big task. We had to hold it down. All right, well, let's get out of here. Thank you all for joining us for this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. You can keep the conversation going by joining our Facebook group, Voices in Hyperspace. Keep the conversation going on our YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. And catch us on any of your streaming platforms that you find podcasts. I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram at Legendary Black Lion.
I'm Mel Asylum. You can find me at melsrebellion.com. You can also find my book, Unrooting the System, and leave me a review because I would love to hear what you have to say.
And we'll see you out there.